Hey everybody, Guan Yu 15 here, and we're going to do a quick tutorial slash hopefully gameplay run through of Slay the Spire. Kind of an indie game that's definitely pretty fun, and they hit onto something that works really well. A lot of streamers are playing it now, you probably noticed. But if you want a little bit of primer on it, see if it's fun, see if it's for you, then this is for you. So we'll go through a little bit, I don't know, for a little while and see you can get the gist of what the game is. So. In its heart, Slay the Spire is a deck building game. You collect cards, you build a deck, and you try to go up the ladder and finish the spire. The whole premise is you're climbing a giant spire, a tower, 3 levels, get to the top, beat the end guy, you win. So you start, you get to choose only from the Ironclad. You beat him and you can choose from the Silent. 2 different kind of classes. They each have their own decks. They each have their own abilities. The third one's locked. It's still in early access, so hopefully they'll come up with something eventually that'll bring this out. Now I'm in Ascension Mode, which means after you beat the game it gets harder and harder. So I'm going to click that off in order to kind of show you what the game is like in its base levels. And since Ironclad's the first, I guess we'll go with them. Ironclad's kind of more brute force, kind of get things done. The Silent's more a little bit kind of you build combos, and it's a little more fun actually. But I'm going to start with this Ironclad just so you can see what it's like. So to start with, we can talk to our giant three-eyed whale here. He offers us, if you get to the boss and then you fail or you succeed, then the next time through he offers you kind of a little bonus to get the game going. So if you take a look, this is our current deck. We got 10 cards. Each turn we draw 4 of them. We got strikes. Basically, this is how much it costs to play up in the corner, and this is what it does. It's pretty simple to begin with. It costs 1. That's the energy it costs. So you start with 3 energy in each turn. It does 6 damage. To cost 1, it does 5 block. Certain cards do a little bit more, like this costs 2, this bash, deals 8 damage and applies vulnerable. What's vulnerable do? Well, you hover over it, it tells you vulnerable creatures take 50% more damage from attacks for the number of rounds that it specifies. So if it says 2, that means for the next 2 rounds they're going to be vulnerable. So that's our main deck to start with. And to start here, we can transform a card, which basically means we pick a card and it changes into something random. We can increase our max hit points by 8. You see we have 80 hit points up here. We can lose all our gold and transform 2 cards. Let's say we have 99 gold here. Or we can lose our starting relic and attain a random boss relic. Now relics are a little bit kind of like artifacts, things that are constantly in effect for you. You start with a relic with the Ironclad, which is Burning Blood. At the end of the combat you heal 6 hit points. Healing's really hard to do in this game, so Burning Blood is one of the best relics actually in the game. So we're not going to transform it, we're going to keep that. So it's kind of between losing 99 gold and transforming 2 cards, or probably transforming a card. And I think we're just actually going to transform a card. I want to keep my gold. You can do some shopping, go to and pick up some additional artifacts or some additional cards for your deck. So I'm going to transform a card. I'm going to transform a strike. Now, a lot of people transform their defense right away. You need block in this game. You want to be able to block most of the damage because healing is kind of hard. So we are going to transform this strike. It kind of goes random. We'll see what we get here, and we're hoping for something good. We get Inflame. Inflame's good. It's a power, which means once you cast it, it's good for the rest of the game, and it gives you 2 strength. 2 strength, which basically means each of your attacks will be doing 2 additional damage. Okay, so we're at the bottom of the spire. Let's kind of go up the ladder to see where we got to get to at the end. You'll see there's a bunch of different paths. This is the end guy. He's kind of the flaming guy. He shows you a little bit what he does. And these are the paths we can do. There's a legend over on the side to tell you what everything is. These campfires are where we can either rest to regain hit points or upgrade a card. These little monster thingies are just regular monsters, regular encounters. Question marks are random. Sometimes they're monsters, sometimes they're just random encounters of some site. Get these little horny guys, they're the elites. Now elites are harder, but they give you relics when you beat them, so it's kind of nice to get some relics early on. Relics are pretty powerful. And then last but not least, second to last, we have the merchants, which is where you can buy cards or remove a card from your deck. And you each get a free relic or treasure as you go through the spire. So since I've played the game a few times, I want to fight elites. I want to get relics for these early levels. So I'm looking for a path that would give me the most elites. I got 1, looks like 2 on the left hand side. Now early on, when you're not in Ascension Mode, you're going to get less and less chances to get elites. Later on, there's more elites. It's harder, so you get 3 or 4 in a run. Looks like this one I can get 1, 2. Either way, I'm going to get 2. So let's see how many. Let's see if we can get a merchant there, merchant over here, merchant over here. Campfires are good too. 2 campfires, 3 campfires. Okay, so I think we're going to go this route. We're going to go up these question marks, hit this campfire. Oh, no, we got to hit the elite, don't we? Yep, hit this elite, go back over to here, and then eventually we'll get... Nope, we'll never get this. See, I'm trying to follow the path, and if I get both elites, then I miss every single shop. But I don't want to miss every single shop. I want to be able to buy at least once. So maybe we'll do it a little simpler. We'll just go on the left-hand side here. We got monster, question mark, question mark. There's a camp here, another camp, and another elite, and that's our second elite. So we'll definitely go on the left-hand side. All right, so let's start here, and you can kind of see how the gameplay progresses. Okay, we start by fighting 2, what are these called? Louse? Louse, they're called louses. You can kind of see this is our energy. We start with 3 energy. Actually, and our draw pile is 5. We drew 5. Apparently, you draw 5 per turn. I was mistaken. Sorry. It's different. You draw 5. I think the other guy draws 7, so it's a lot. And you can see their intent. They're aggressive. They're going to attack me for 7 damage each. So at the end of this turn, if I do nothing, I will take 14 damage. That's a lot of damage. So I want to mitigate that as best as possible. So I'm going to cast Defend a few times and probably Inflame. Actually, maybe Strike. So, because what these guys, they have the Curl Up ability. If you can kind of read over, it says monsters have special abilities. Their Curl Up ability is on taking damage, attack damage rolls up, or they roll up and gain 6 blocks. Only once per combat. So if I hit him once, he's immediately going to get 6 blocks, which will disappear at the end of the round. So it's actually good for me to hit him once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to defend, 5 block, defend, 10 block total. So I'll be taking 4 damage after this round. But I'm also going to strike this one over here. It does 6 damage, and he kind of rolls up. You see he gets 5 block as well. So if I were to attack him again, I'm out of energy. But if I had energy and I struck him again, it would have to go through this block first. So I'd actually only be doing 1 point of damage to it, which isn't great. So we'll end the turn, and they'll go ahead and attack us. First guy hits us for 7, which gets 7 of our block, and the next guy hits us for another 7, which hurts us for 4. The rest of the block gets some damage. That's not bad on the Ironclad, because at the end of the combat we heal 6, which is really good. So this guy's close to dead, and we don't need to defend. If you notice, they are not attacking. This guy is doing strategic. He intends to use a buff, and this guy is using strategic. He intends to inflict a negative effect on me. Those are never damage, they're just effects. So I don't have to really worry about defending this round. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bash this guy. That's going to do 8 damage and make him vulnerable for the next turn. You see he curls up. So hitting him again is kind of pointless because I do 9 damage, but he would still live with 3 hit points. So I'm going to just kill this guy off. And we're out of energy. We end the turn. So this guy grows. That's what his buff was. His strength goes up. So every attack, so you can see he hits it a little bit harder now. His strength goes up 3. His attack damage goes up 3. Luckily, he's got 6 hit points left. He's vulnerable, so I can kill him with any ability. I'll go ahead and strike him. You see, strike normally does 6 damage. But since he's vulnerable, kind of hovering over it says he's going to do 9 damage, which is the plus 50% for vulnerability. He dies. Yay! And our first combat is complete. We get the 6 hit point heal, and we get some loot. We take our gold, and we get to add a random card to our deck. This is where you kind of make a decision of how you want your deck to build. The cards come in 3 rarities, common, uncommon, and rare, and they're kind of, you can tell by the color of the border. So the blue is uncommon, and the gray is common. And you kind of see what they do. This gain 8 block, draw a card, add a random attack to your hand. It costs 0 this turn, and then exhaust this card. Exhaust means it disappears from your deck for that combat. It reappears at the next combat, but for the rest of this combat, it is completely gone. And the Rupture says whenever you lose hit points from a card, gain 1 strength. So if I have a card that says you get extra energy, but you take damage, then this would be a good card to have in my deck. It's a power. It continues to be effective the entire game. you can kind of see the different types of cards. There's skills, attacks, powers, and there's one more I can't think. Powers, think of them once you activate them per combat, they're good forever. Skills, well, they just do kind of random stuff like this, and attacks generally do damage. So start the game. I'm going to take Shrug It Off. I like Shrug It Off. Not only does it give me 8 block, which is a whole hell of a lot more than my normal 5 block that my defends do, but it gets me draw a card, so I can draw into something good. And card draw is always good. Now, eventually, what I'd really like to do is get upgraded attack damage, like 6 attack, 5 defense is not good. I'd love to get rid of these cards or upgrade them in some way. But I'll take Shrug It Off. You can see I have 10 cards in my deck. I add it. And now I have 11 cards in my deck, with Shrug It Off being another nice defense card there. Okay, so let's go up. Let's do our first random encounter. You walk into a room to find a large hole in the ground. As you approach the hole, an enormous serpent creature appears within. Ho, ho, ho! Hello, hello! What have we got here? Hello, adventurer. I ask a simple question. The most fulfilling of lives is that in which you can buy anything. Do you agree? So we get to make a choice from the serpent. If we agree, we get 175 gold, but we get this card called Cursed. It goes into our deck. It's unplayable, means it doesn't do anything, except at the end of our turn we gain 1 weakness, which means we do like half damage or something ridiculous, or 75% damage. So it's a bad card to have. But we also get 175 gold. If we disagree, nothing happens, we move on. So 175 gold is a lot of gold. You can see we only have 118 to begin with. We can buy almost an entire regular relic and maybe half of a really good relic if we get this. But, again, we become cursed. So let's look at our map. You can remove curses at places, at shops. But, as you can see, we got a long time to get to the shop. We'd have to get through all these fights with being cursed. And I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to disagree. I'm not going to take the money. I might be tempted if I was the other class, because they have a card that says discard a card. And if we have this in our hand and we can discard it, it doesn't take effect at the end of the turn. So I might take it. But for now, sorry, Serpent. Serpent stares at you with a look of extreme disappointment. And we'll move on and do our next random encounter. As you walk into the room, you hear a gurgling and grinding of metals. Before you is a slime-like creature that ate too much scrap for its own good. From the center of the creature, you see glints of strange light, perhaps something magical. It looks like you could get some treasure if you just reach inside its opening. However, the acid and sharp objects may hurt. Alright. So if we reach inside, we lose 3 hit points with a 25% chance to find a relic. If we leave, nothing happens. I'm going to do it. We're at full hit points. We heal each combat each time, so I'm going to take the risk, try to lose 3 hit points, 25% chance. And, ooh, you find an only corroded metal, bit of burning pain. However, you're still convinced there's a relic. So we lose, it goes up a little bit more. Lose 4 hit points, 35% chance. Sure. Ooh, let's try it one more time. Oh my god, we're getting our ass kicked. In for a penny, in for a pound. Yay! After rummaging through the metal, the burning acid, you finally grab hold of a relic and yank it out. You pull your way out of ooze damage but rewarded. So we took 18 points of damage, which granted is a lot, but we're the ironclad, so we can kind of we can take that. And we get this Gurya. You can now gain rest at rest strength, or strength at rest strength. Strength's good. Strength's really good depending on your deck. So when we get to a rest site, you'll see like have an extra option where we can rest, or we can gain strength. But let's move into the next mob here. Looks like we got a couple little puddle thingies. You can see this one's planning on attack for only 3, and this one's going to do like a debuff. So I'm going to actually inflame here. Gives me 2 strength. It's a power, so it's gone from my deck for this combat. And I'm going to have to shrug it off in order to avoid this damage. Lets me draw a card, but I only have 1 energy, so let's just strike this guy for 8. And he's almost dead. We're out of energy, we end the turn. Ooh, we are frail. So that negative was a frail. Frail means our blocks are 25% less effective. So you can see if we play to defend, normally this is block 5, it's only a 3 now. But luckily they're not attacking, so we can just afford to strike and kill this guy, strike and kill this guy, and we end it. You notice our strike did a little bit more damage. It's because we are strengthened. We have +2 strength. Looking for Shrug It Off here, because he's attacking us for 8, so I'll go ahead and Shrug It Off. And I could take those 2 points of damage. See, I have a block of 6, he's going to do 8. But honestly, if I can avoid it, since I'm down so far from that random encounter, I'm just going to defend again, and I'll hit him once. Because Because if we can finish him off when he's doing his debuff, then we won't take any damage, and that's a little bit better. You'll notice that wound card that he gave us. He gave us a wound card. Sometimes they'll hit you and they'll give you a wound or like a debuff or something. It adds to your deck. You can draw it and it doesn't do anything, which kind of sucks. But so you can see here, he's not doing anything. He's using a negative effect, so we can just strike him twice. It's enhanced because of our strength, so it only takes 2 to do the 15 points of damage. We'll heal our 6, get some gold, and get a potion. Now, potions are something we have not talked about yet. But first we'll grab a card, and then we'll talk about potions. I like Inflame. I really, really do. But I already got one, and another one's great, but meh, I don't need it. I'm going to take the second Shark off and look to get rid of my defense, because these are just much better defense. And maybe we'll have some sort of defend deck in it. So if you look at the top, you get 3 potions. Potions at the base level are pretty good. They're like random stuff. They take no energy to use, and they do abilities. So this one is an explosive potion. Deal 10 damage to all enemies. So if I get into a DPS war where there's just a bunch of enemies and I can't get through them, that's not a bad thing to throw. It does 10 damage to all enemies, and I can kind of clear some stuff up. But let's go to this next random encounter. Okay, so this random encounter was just a fight. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens. We're going to run into this guy. He hits hard. He hits for 11. Luckily, we have Shrug It Off to kind of mitigate some of that, and we'll go ahead and defend. And that gives us 13 blocks, so we're going to block it all, and we'll just hit him once. He does 11. We blocked it all, and it looks like this turn he's only hitting for 7, which is kind of nice. I really wish I had that second Shrug It Off, but I don't. So unfortunately, I'm just going to defend for 5. I'm going to bash him to make him vulnerable for next turn. I could have inflamed and striked. Maybe that would have been better, but I think the plus 50% would be good. So we're going to take 2 here, which is not great, but not terrible. And he's using an ability. Enemy intends to block and use buff this turn. He's got 5 block up, so we're going to have to get through that. But he is vulnerable, so he does fit. So our strikes do 9, and we got 3 strikes, so that's good. So they're going to rip through him pretty easily here. He's going to be down to 7. So he did block. His block is 6. Vulnerability wore off. He's going to do 10 points of damage to us. We have 2 options here. He's not vulnerable, so if we attack here, we do 8. So it looks like 2 will get through. He'll be at 5, and then we can strike for the rest. Okay, so that's enough to finish him off. My other option would be to shrug it off and defend and just take it slow, but I think we can finish him off with a bash and a strike. Yes. You need to do math here. We've got an energy potion. It's the second potion. Sits in our second slot, and if we use it, it gives us 2 energy for that round, which is kind of nice. The potions are one of. You use them and they're gone, so that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So we got a few different cards here. We got Havoc. Play the top card of your draw pile and exhaust it. So for 1, you play the card. It costs more than you're making energy. Otherwise, it's just a 1-for-1. Seed Red, you get 2 energy, but you only get to use it once, and it costs 1, so it actually only net 1 energy, but it's pretty good. And Blood for Blood, it costs 1 less for each time you lose hit points in combat, and does 16 damage. Now it looks like it costs a lot, 4. But think of it this way, if we get hit 3 times, this only costs 1. If we get 4 times, it costs 0, which is ridiculous. It does a lot of damage. I'm not sure I love it on my deck right now. Yeah, we're kind of more of a block deck than anything. So I'm going to take Seed Red. It exhausts from our deck, so once we use it, it's gone for that combat. Remember, it always comes back at the end of combat. And it's going to net us 1, and maybe we can upgrade it later to net us 2. So we'll take that. Because we're going to do our first elite here, and our deck's not great. I'm not going to lie. We got the Inflame. That might help us get through whatever it is, but elites are pretty tough. And I'm hoping it's not the big red dude, but we'll see. It's the big red dude. Okay, the big red dude is one of the hardest, actually, beginning bosses. Or elites. He's not terrible. I mean, you're probably going to win. Oof, look at this terrible hand. Oh my god. So this is where the random generator can kind of hurt you, the random card draw. Because what you'll notice is he's not doing anything. He's just buffing this turn. But all I can do is draw cards. Or do defense. I guess I can inflame and shrug it off and hopefully get an attack. And it is important to notice that the order these are in are random. It doesn't tell you right now what order it's going in. So, yeah, I would have liked some attacks this turn because next turn I'm getting no strikes. I'm getting no defense. Well, might get shrug it off. So let's see. Let's inflame. Give us some strength. Cast shrug it off and hope for a 1 casting attack. Of course, we got our other shrug it off. Oh my god. So this is going to be a bad round. But, you know, whatever. We'll do what we can. No reason to defend. I mean, I can. Doesn't really matter. But we don't... Energy doesn't carry over anything normally. So this guy's going to buff. He roars. Okay, so he's hitting for 14. Ouch. We have no defense. Ouch. He also has the ability called Enrage. That means whenever I play a skill, he gains 2 strength. Now, skills are mostly defensive cards. We have no skills right now. We just have attack. Actually, this is a skill. Ugh. I was going to use that too. Ugh. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I think we're going to try to use Bash, Strike, Strike, Strike with the Energy Potion. That will do vulnerability damage for 3 attacks. He's got 84 hit points. He's going to be around for a while, but we want to try to avoid skills as much as possible. We just got to kind of suck it up and take it, honestly. So let's bash him, make him vulnerable. Nice that we have the strength bonus. We're going to have to use our Energy Potion. Gives us 2 energy. And our strikes are doing 12, which normally is a lot. And we did DPS him pretty quick there, but he's at 38 still, which is pretty reasonable, and he's hitting us for 14, which, ow, hurts a lot. He's going to hit us for 14 again. Ugh. Okay, 2 options here. We bash him to 15, and then we strike him for 12, which does 27. Or we bash him and shrug it off, and we try to absorb some of it. Now, again, this is a skill, so while we gain 8 block, he gets 2 damage, so we're actually mitigating 6. I think what I'm going to do is try to burst him down here. We have strikes. We have strikes coming up. So let's bash him and strike him. Yeah, he's at 11. I'm going to take another big hit. Of course, this time he does very little. He's doing his little attack now. But luckily, he's at nothing. He's vulnerable. We can attack him. So while he's not the toughest guy, he did do a shitload of damage to us, and it kind of hurt. So I'll take the gold. You get a little bit more gold from elites, and we get an artifact, a Juzu bracelet. Regular enemy combats are no longer encountered in question mark rooms, which is good. So remember back here we ran into this random monster in this question mark room. No longer do we run into random monsters in question marks. We just run into good stuff or bad stuff, but never monsters. And let's look at the cards. So we've got a couple options. We got Pummel, which does 2 damage 4 times, and then exhausts, which may seem a little weird. It's like, why does it not just do 8 damage? Well, the difference is that if you have strength on this, it adds strength for each attack. So essentially 2 damage 4 times is normally 8. If we have our +2 strength, it's actually 4 damage 4 times. It actually doubles it. It's pretty good. It's only one of it exhausts, but it's nice. Flameberry costs a little bit more, but it gives you 12 block. It's pretty good. And then whenever they attack us, they deal 4 damage. Whirlwind, deal 5 damage to all enemies X times. X is the amount of energy you have left. So we could do 15 points of damage to all our enemies potentially with this if we have all 3 energy. We just wouldn't be able to do anything else, which is okay. It's good. It's not great though. But I'm going to take Pummel because with our strength, I think this has the potential to be pretty good. And even if it does 8 damage, which is more than a strike. Okay, so we got our first Campfire. You're going to see Campfire. What do? We can rest, which means we gain 30% of our max hit points back. We go back up to 74, which is pretty good. We can Smith, which means we get to upgrade a card. This is the first time we talk about upgrade cards. So each card can be upgraded once normally. You'll notice that if you click on it, you can tell you what it does. So Strike does 6 damage, in fact, for 1 mana. If I upgrade it, Strike does 9 damage for 1 damage. Defend goes to 8 block. You can kind of see Bash gives me a little more damage and applies vulnerability for 1 more turn. Pretty good. Inflame gives me additional strength. Shrug it off gives me more block. Seed Red is an interesting one. It goes to 0 cost, and I get 2. So basically, I net an energy. And let's see what Pummel does. Deal 2 damage 5 times and exhaust, but for the same cost. Okay. So that's our second option, is to do that. Now, because we have this cool artifact, we can lift, which means we... Oh, shoot. I thought it gave me an option to go back. And honestly, I probably would have lifted anyways, because +1 strength at all times, like we just always get +1 strength, is going to be really good. All our damage is going to do 1 more. We could do that up to 3 times, and those cards weren't amazing. I probably would have upgraded a Shrug It Off just to get more block, or maybe the Seed Red to get more energy. But probably not the Pummel. Okay, so let's keep going. We're going to a normal mob room here. Alright, we got some mushroom dudes. Mushroom dudes, here's what they do. We click them. You can see one of them's going to attack, one of them's going to use a buff. These guys have something called Spore Cloud. On death, they make me vulnerable for 2 turns. So let's say I can DPS this guy. I can do 12, 19 points damage. So I could kill this guy. And I'm like, I can take 6 points of damage, and I just go ahead and kill him. I'm actually taking 9, because when he dies, it's going to make me vulnerable to this guy's attack. So instead, I'm going to shrug it off. It's a block, draw a card. I'm going to see. Ooh, do I want to see in red? It gives me energy. I don't think I need to do this because I don't need to play another defend. So instead, I'm just going to pummel. Now, if I had other options, I'd probably keep this for when I have my strength, but you do notice that it does 3 damage since I have a +1 strength from this gear up here. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to hit this guy because he's going to get super strong next turn, I think. So you see he did a bunch of damage, and we'll strike him for 7. So we're set up really well. This guy's only going to, he's going to die next turn. Hopefully this guy uses a buff, and in which case we get a full turn of never getting attacked. So he grows, gives himself some strength. He hits us, we block it all. Damn. I was hoping this guy would use a... I was hoping this guy would use a, what do you call it? A buff, because now he's going to hit us for 9. Well, it looks like 6, but I'm not taking this damage, so I'm definitely going to kill this guy. Kill this guy, we become vulnerable, he hits us for 9. I'm going to put a block up. And I can either strike or inflame. Let's see what we got coming up. I guess we just strike. This guy's so... well... strike for 9. Let's do 7 now. Yeah, let's just inflame, I guess. We got good block coming up, so I'm going to inflame. So we're going to take 4, which isn't the worst, but I was kind of hoping to heal up a little bit since we took so long to get this freaking relic. He's using a buff. He's not attacking, so we'll just do our 2 strikes. We can shrug it off if we want, but we run out of energy to do anything. He grows, but I don't think he's ever going to get a chance to use it as we DPS him in the face. I should notice that you can see your discard pile over here, so you can see what cards are discarded. Now, when your draw pile runs out, your discard pile goes back into your draw pile. However, you can also look at your exhausted cards that aren't going to be around for the rest of this combat. Just to show you, see in red here, you kind of see, it exhausts, you get 1 extra energy. It is no longer in our discard pile, but it is in our exhaust pile. And we're going to strike to win. Heal a little bit, get another explosive potion, which is kind of nice. Okay, so we have to decide what we're going to do. What kind of deck are we going to be? We haven't really found any super great cards to go off of. Wild Strike, deal 12 damage, shuffle a wound into your draw pile. It's okay. The wound is annoying, but not bad. Clothesline, deal 12 damage, apply 2 weak. Weak isn't bad. Clothesline's the only way for me to really get weak on a creature, and weak, they do less damage. Or we can do Entrench, which doubles our current block, which isn't great. We upgrade anything only costs 1, which is nice, but I'm not going to take these. You can also skip, actually, if you notice. I'm not going to take Entrench. I don't like it. We just don't have the block. Maybe if we had the Barricade, which keeps your block around, that's another story. I'm going to take Clothesline. It applies 2 weak. Maybe it'll be really good on a boss, and we don't have any way to weak. So this is our first relic, our treasure relic. We're going to hope for something good. 53 gold and a tiny chest. Tiny chest, I don't think is great. Tiny chest, you gain 30 gold, you get 10% more likely to find treasure in question mark runes. Actually, that's not bad. It kind of stacks well with our Juzu bracelet here, because we're never going to fight enemies in those question mark rooms, and we got 10% chance more to find a relic, which is not bad. So we'll take it. We have an option here. Do we want Campfire question mark or 2 creatures? When in doubt, always take the Campfires. I mean, honestly, they're really good. And the question mark we know is not going to be a... Oh, look at that. It's already paying off. Good job, Tiny Chest. So we get a relic. We get a lantern. Lantern's really good for us. Lantern says at the first turn we get additional energy, which is pretty good. It means we can kind of burst people down a little bit more. And we'll do our Campfire. Campfire, again, we can rest, or we can lift, or we can upgrade a card. Upgrading Clothesline's okay. Weakness lasts a little longer. Upgrade Pummel's okay. I mean, we're kind of still in the same spot we were before, so I think we're just going to lift again. Lifting's good. We get huge. Get huge, get us swollen. And our first merchant! Yay! It's actually our only merchant for the entire level. As you can see, there's no more merchants that we can hit going up this ladder. So let's take a look at the merchant. We have a bunch of choices. We can buy cards. There's always one thing on sale. Bandage up is nice. We can buy a couple relics that are for sale, or we can remove a card from our deck. We could do all of it. It's just they all cost money. Apotheosis or whatever is really good. It basically says upgrade all your cards for the rest of combat. That's pretty good. We don't have to worry about upgrading shit then. It's just they're all upgraded for the rest of the combat. It does take a turn, but it's pretty good. It also costs 181, which means we're not getting much else. What else can we choose from? Blood Vial, start each combat, heal 2 hit points. Not as good for us, pretty good for the other class, but not bad. Regal Pillow, heal an additional 15 hit points when you rest. That's okay. And Bag of Preparation, at the start of each combat, draw 2 additional cards. That's pretty good. We can also buy some potions down here. The Block Potion gives you 12 block, and Dexterity Potion gives you Dexterity. Dexterity we haven't talked about, but it basically means all your blocks get 2 better. So if I could play at a 5 block, it actually becomes a 7 block, and that's for the entire combat, which is nice. Another Explosive Potion, which we already have 2. So let's add up our money. We got 304 gold. I kind of like Bandage Up too. Each combat being able to heal 4 is nice. And if we Apotheosis it, it means it'll heal 6, I think. Yeah, I want to do the upgrade. Yeah, it heals 6. But I also like removing cards. Like, I honestly don't want these defends in here anymore. The strikes I eventually want to get rid of too, but I got 2 Shrug It's Up, 2 Shrug It Offs, and... So what can we do? Can we get 181? We can't get everything. 284 if we get those 2. 175 if we get this. We can get a remove a card and Apotheosis. I just want to make sure when I upgrade it, this goes to 1, right? Yeah, see, that's pretty good at 1. The relics are good. I'm not in love with them. The Bag of Preparation is probably the best one. I think I'm going to get Apotheosis and card removal. Sorry, Bandage Up. I'd like you in my deck, but I just got no money. And these cards are fine, but I don't see anything that's like, oh my god, I need that or anything. Nothing that's super great. If they are upgraded already, I would think about them, but they're all kind of basic cards. So I'll take Apotheosis, and we'll remove Defend, because we already got 2 additional Defend with our Shrug It Off. I think. Is that what I want? Or should I get rid of a Strike? This exhausts, so it's kind of like an attack but an exhaust. So I'm going to get rid of a defense since we already have 2 Shrug It Offs. And we got 48 gold into our second elite. This guy is he's an attacking monster, so this guy's weird. He sleeps for a while, but it does mean we get to inflame and cast this. So basically if we hit him, he wakes up. So it kind of gives us a round to get buff, so to speak, and we're going to do it really well with Apotheosis and Inflame. You notice we have 4 energy this first round because of Lantern. It's not something we're going to be able to use, really, because he's going to be sleeping the entire first round, but I am going to use that and Inflame, which gives us 3 strength because it's upgraded. If you take a look at the deck, you'll notice all are green. They're all super awesome, upgraded, and we'll just call it good. Kind of wish I had this Bash to make him vulnerable. He also has something called Metallicize, which means he gains 8 block at the end of his turn. I think that goes away eventually. So our choices here are to strike, 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 or pass and hope he keeps sleeping. I'm going to strike, strike, strike. Look at that, 14 damage because of the upgraded strength and the Gyrus. We got 5 strength, so we're going to do a lot of damage to this guy. He's already down to 76, and he's going to be thinking for a while. He's seeing stars because of our amazing attack. He's stunned this round. He's back. He hits hard, like I said. So, but Pummel does 35 points of damage. That's good. Whew. Strike does 14. We can see red and shrug it off. So let's shrug it off to draw a card. Ooh, clothesline. Let's cast Seeing Lead. This is going to weaken him. Do 19 damage and weaken him, so he's down to 13 damage. So I could take the 2. Yeah, I'm just going to... Oh, I'm going to draw him. I draw strikes. Strike, strike, bash. Okay, I can kill him next turn no matter what, because he's going to be vulnerable. No, he's not going to be vulnerable. But so I'm just going to avoid those 2 points of damage. Take the 13. Gets blocked by all 19, and we should draw at least damage to kill him. Yeah, we got Bash. The upgraded cards are ridiculous. With the strength, whew. So that guy usually hits really hard, but we just we perfect him, which is nice. Yeah, so we get 25 gold, which is nice, and we get meat on the bones, which is okay, but I don't love it. It basically says if you're below 50% hit points, you heal 12 hit points. If you're below 50% of your health, you heal 12 hit points. So if I'm ever below 40, I heal 12 at the end of combat. That's fine. It's better on in the later levels where it's harder, but this level's not too difficult. So we can take one of these cards. I honestly don't think they do that much for us. Shrug it off's fine, but I already have defense. We could take the Seeing Red again, since it's always going to be a plus to energy. This might be a little combo with our meat on the bone, but that's okay. And when it gets upgraded because of the Apotheosis, it's really good. So should we take Seed Red? The danger here is that we have too much energy and not enough card draw. We can also skip. Skip's our other option, because you don't want your deck to be super big and bloated, then you don't draw your good cards. I think I'm going to take it, because we got some 2 casting costs. We got the Clothesline, and I thought we had the Bash and the Apotheosis. So I'll take it. You convinced me. It exhausts, so it doesn't bloat our deck too much. So we got a random thief here. He hits for 10, and every turn he steals 15 gold, which not cool. Not cool, man. Not cool. Not the best starting hand, but not bad. We'll shrug it off. We'll draw a card. Oh, that's right. We need to draw for 4 so we can defend it. Nice. We'll do 10. It's kind of a DPS fight. He's going to run away after like 3 turns with my money, so I need to kill him before he runs away with my money. Here I'll go ahead and shrug it off and weaken him. Do 16 points of damage. So we gotta do 19 points of damage this turn, I think. Otherwise he starts to run. Yeah, he's gonna. This turn he's gonna go defensive. So I think we can just do this. But let's do this just for the lulz. Upgrade does 30 points of damage. 6 points of damage 5 times. We get our money back that he stole, and we get to add a card. A couple different options. Seeing Red, we already have 2. We're not taking that. Armament's normally pretty good. You gain 5 block and you upgrade a card for the rest of your combat. It seems okay, but when you upgrade this, it says upgrade every card in your hand for the rest of combat, which is pretty good. But, as you're probably thinking, we already have Apotheosis, so we don't really need it. Now, Headbutt's interesting. Deal 9 damage. Place a card from your discard pile on top of your draw deck. So, what do we want? I mean, I can't think of anything we'd super want. I guess one of our Shrug It Offs or something. So I'm going to take it. It does 9 damage, and upgrade to my strikes, and it lets me kind of cycle back my deck if I need to. And we are at our last bonfire before the big baddie at the end here. So if you're smart, you'll notice I'm at 16 hit points below, so I should probably rest. I'll be full for the big bad guy, but this game you're going to find out very quickly is about greed. I mean, how much can you get by? Because at the end of this combat, we're going to start level 2. And level 2, you heal all your hit points. So my actual question is, can I beat this guy with 64 hit points? And I'm going to hope so. I'm going to hope so, and I'm going to get greedy. I'm either going to lift for the 3rd time, which increases my strength, or I'm going to upgrade Apotheosis to 1. What do we do? Apotheosis is really good. Strength's really good. It's a tough choice. I'm gonna Apotheosis because it makes all my cards better, and if I ever draw this off like a Shrug It Off and it costs 2 and I only have 1 energy left, it's gonna suck. So I'm gonna want this. I want this bad. Bam. Upgraded Apotheosis looks amazing. Which brings us to the badass from a dangerous crew. If we ever get into super trouble, we can throw a couple potions at him. Okay, start with Inflame. I was kind of hoping for Apotheosis, but maybe they'll come up here. So, we are fighting Hexaghost. Hexaghost's intentions are unknown, but basically that means he's not attacking this round. So we got the Inflame, which is a great start. We got the Bash to make him vulnerable. And I could headbutt back my Bash. I don't really want to, but it doesn't a little more damage. Does 19 instead of 15. Yeah, but I don't want it to get it back. I want Apotheosis to get, so I'm just going to do a little less damage. And then you notice we use 4 energy that turn because of the ledge. So he inflames. He's doing 6x6. Holy shit, 36 points of damage. I think it's based off how many of these are lit up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are lit up. So he does 6x6. Like, I think. I could be wrong. But not the best hand, honestly. I really want Apotheosis, but we can see in red to give us a little more energy. We can weaken him with a clothesline. Now he does 4x6, 20 points of damage. Still a lot. So we can block 5 and take 15, or we can try to DPS him a little more with a strike. And I'm going to choose the latter. So he's down to 148. Saved us for 20, and we're down to 44. 40. Oh, see, now that was his big attack, so, oh my god, we need this Apotheosis. There we go. Okay, that helps. Unfortunately, there's, like, no good attacks. I guess we can shrug it off. Strike, strike. Okay. Now we'll do this, draw our card, see in red, get 2, strike, strike. Just because he was still vulnerable, or weakened. He's only going to hit us for 4. We got 19 block. We're good there. You notice he burned us. He gave us a burn card. On the playable, we take playable at the end of the round, we take 2 damage. Okay, so he's gonna hit us for 6. Not terrible, but not great. So I'm gonna bash him to make him vulnerable again, and I can either strike him for 19 or shrug it off and avoid all 8 damage. Actually, I'm just gonna defend because I don't want to draw any more strikes or anything. So I'll defend for 8. He's vulnerable for 3, so that's a long time. The burn does 2 to us, and this does 6 to us, so we don't take any damage. We do get another burn card in our discard pile. He's not attacking. Great. So that means we can headbutt. Oh, no, we can't. We can't draw a 3rd card, unfortunately. Ugh. Is there anything we don't want to draw? Probably clothesline. So I will just headbutt back. Let's head back, I'll shrug it off just in case he hits us hard and we'll strike. Oh, if I cast Shrug here, Shrug's on the top because that's what we did. We put it back on top of our library. So instead we'll just defend. We don't even need to. He's not making an attack. He's doing this little inflamey thingy. Makes him strong. Can for 14, 7x2. We're gonna weaken him. And he also shielded, it looked like, and we'll shrug it off, which means he's weak, he's only doing 10, and we're blocked for 11, which is pretty awesome. Not great. 2 burn cards in our hand, and he's doing 6, so he's going to take 10 damage. We can block 16 or bash him and block 8. I choose bash and block 8. Burn, attack. So he's vulnerable for 3 turns here. Another burn card. Come on, damage cards. Not trying any damage cards. There's a good one. We're out of energy, but I think we kill him next turn. And we didn't have to use our potions this combat. He wasn't terrible. And there we go. He is done. The Apotheosis early on, with strength early on, with this extra strength early on is really good. So we beat the end guy on level 1. There's 3 levels on this game. As you go up higher, it gets a little more difficult. And we get a little bit more money. So we get 100 gold. We get our 3rd explosive potion. So we're going to be able to DPS a giant mob no matter what. And we usually get a rare card. Ooh, rare cards. Yellow. Our choice are Brutality. At the start of your turn, lose 1 hit point, draw a card. Costs 0. It's a power. Pretty good. Basically, losing a hit point sucks, but when you're this guy, you heal 6 at the end of combat, so not bad. Feed, deal 10 damage. If this kills a non-minion enemy, you gain 3 permanent max hit points. It exhausts, you can only use it once per combat, but getting 3 additional hit points up a ladder early on is pretty good. Exhume, choose an exhausting card and put that card in your hand. So let's say we inflame. It goes away, it's a power, it's exhausted. Oh, no, it doesn't exhaust. The flame's different. Powers don't exhaust, they just go away. Pummel. Pummel's a good one. Let's say we got a giant pummel. It exhausts. We can only use it once per combat. But if we have Exhume, we basically get to use it again. And I think upgraded this costs nothing. I'm not positive, though, which is really nice. So basically we get to use our best cards twice. That one we'd never have to use twice. And it's good. All these are really good. This is basically what the fuck's the card in Magic? I forget. Black creature, 2/1, cost 2. At the beginning of your turn, take damage, draw a card. It's amazing. It's really good. And this is great. I'm going to feed. 10 damage is a lot for 1 energy, especially with our strength, so it's going to be 12 damage just flat. And if we kill anybody, we gain max 3 hit points. We can actually, with our defense, set it up so we can cycle it a few times and get it so that we do good stuff. So we'll take the feed. Yay, it goes into our deck. Our deck's looking okay. It's not great, but it's looking okay. I'd really love to get rid of these strikes and defends and get better cards, but that's okay. And we get our super chest. Whoa, super chest! In the super chest, you get a choice of 3 artifacts or relics. These are boss relics, meaning they're really good usually. We kind of got screwed, honestly. These ones are not great. They're okay. Question card. On card reward screen, we get to choose from 4 cards instead of 3. So remember how every fight you get to choose from 3 cards? We get a 4th card to choose one from. Snecko Eye. Draw 2 additional cards each turn, but you start each combat confused. What that means is confused completely randomizes the cost of your cards. So who knows what these will cost? They might cost 0, they might cost 1, 2, or 3. That's the options. It's really, you can get super lucky and they can cost 0. You can get super unlucky and they cost 3. And the other one is a tiny house. Obtain 1 potion, which we cannot use because we're full of 3 potions. 30 gold. Raise your max hit points by 5. Obtain 1 card and upgrade 1 random card. I would say these are great, but they are not. So the relics we're looking for usually are relics that give us extra energy. So it'll say, you can, at the beginning of your combat, you shuffle 2 wounds into your hand, but you get an extra energy, and as we know, energy is pretty freaking good in this game. It allows you to cast more cards. So I'm not sure what to do here. Tiny House got buffed recently. It didn't usually upgrade a random card. It does now. And I think it didn't use the max hit points either. It's okay. It's okay. It's for a boss relic. It's one of the weaker ones. This one's fine. There's going to be a little more options to build our deck. Snecko Eye, generally not the funnest, but it definitely makes your game a little more interesting. So maybe we want our game to be a little more interesting. I don't know. What do you think? If you're saying Snecko Eye, I agree with you. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it. It's not going to be fun. Not going to be fun at all. Act 2, the city. We go down the list, and this is where we are ending. We'll be back next time. We'll try to post these all together so they're all up so you don't have to wait for anything. But we're going to go up the next floor here, and we're going to try to beat this mechanical boss with our Snecko Eye empowered deck that has feed in it. We're going to feed like crazy, and it's going to be fun. And hopefully that'll happen fairly soon. So, until next time, I'm GuanYu15. Thanks for joining us for Slay the Spire. I hope you're back for the next 2 runs where we kind of explain... well, we'll go through this run because it's fun to do. But we'll also explain the Ascension Mode and how... I think I'm only on Ascension 6 or something right now. But we'll kind of show you the Ascension Mode and how they make this game a little bit harder as you go on, even if you do get through the game the first time around. That's it. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next time.